Yeah, well, thank you for taking some time to join us. You got a pretty busy life right now, it feels like. Hey, just kind of reading your press release and all that.
Yeah, things are pretty busy right now. I couldn't be happier, to be honest. I love this stuff, so I'm glad to just be talking to
Yeah,
people in general.
that's cool. So you're a four-time Music NL award winner, but you're
Mhm.
coming off of three award nominations for this year. Are you just like not letting anybody else do anything out east or what?
It's funny. That's like what people poke me about all the time when it comes to pop awards specifically, just because I was plugging away at those for
Yeah.
years back to back. It
It must
feels
feel
like.
nice though. Like you don't do this obviously for those accolades and for the achievements. You do it because I would assume because you something in you drives you
Yes, yeah.
inside. But that stuff must feel nice though.
Yeah, I mean, it feel like a lot of musicians say the same thing. Like we all do this. It's not even like we're doing it on purpose sometimes. Like it's just something that's happening as an artist.
Yeah,
And it just feels like it's your purpose. And so I feel like those types of things just feel like a little bit of a pat on the back or like encouragement or reassurance that you're doing something right, I think, especially from other people in the industry who you look up to or who inspire you and stuff. I think that that is just what means so much when it comes to that stuff.
sure. Like I'm going down the right path. Like
Yeah.
things are going the way it should be. And
Yeah.
so if it weren't you winning awards and getting nominations and stuff, like who do you look to at that part of our country and go like, that's the best of what is happening here?
Oh my gosh, there's so many people. Like honestly, every time I travel somewhere else in the world, I'm constantly talking and bragging about how much talent we have on this side of things. But like people like Tim Baker, I've always looked at as a huge writing inspiration. Just I was obsessed with Hey Rosetta and like growing up, and then now to like be doing the same things or like to be at the same conferences as Tim Baker is really strange. Like it does still do my head in, which I think he would find really funny. But
That's awesome.
people like that I look up to. Serena Ryder, I like these Canadian artists, but then there's so many people here in Newfoundland. But like even people in Nova Scotia, like Leanne Hoffman, who wrote on the album, insane writer. I've met so many people in the past couple years from the East Coast that just like have blown my mind. Elise Aaron is another one who I'm thinking about constantly right now. But she's also just like a total rock star. There's so many people. Like it's just the talent is insane, and there's so many people doing different things. My friends from here are insanely talented, which I may sound biased, but like there are just so many people that I look up to. There's people coming up now that I'm looking up to. Like Summer Bennett from here is insane, and I think she's only 18, but like there's just something that's happening in this province but also just all across the East Coast. And so there's so many people, like you don't even have to look outside of Canada for talent specifically. I consider myself very blessed to be surrounded by people who I consider better than me and better at so many things than me, and I think that's what makes me a better artist. And I'm always looking to people around me, even just on George Street doing a weekly gig.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. And I agree with you. Like I think it's just right across the country. Canada just has
It's wild.
so many incredible artists and bands and
Yep.
performers. It really is incredible. In fact, I want to ask you about like you know, of course, that Canadian radio stations, you know, they need to play a 35% CanCon. It needs to be a minimum of 35% Canadian artists all times. If not, you will lose your license.
Yeah.
Do you think, now of course that was back in like the 70s. It was like the
Mm.
late 60s, early 70s when that mandate for CanCon restrictions were put in place. Do you think that today's artists and bands need CanCon?
I feel like honestly, I think Canadian artists specifically would benefit from anything that is like reinforcing the need for Canadian artists to be in the market as much as everybody else is. Like American music specifically. I mean,
Mm,
you're listening to radio, and there are like multiple artists now, like The Weeknd, Justin Bieber, like these Canadian artists who are doing it.
sure.
But like in comparison to how many American artists there are and like how big that market is, the market is like very saturated right now. And like you look at social media, there's so many people on TikTok and Instagram and all of these things. And the Canadian algorithm is very different. Canadians don't get paid the same as what Americans do for things like that. So I think any type of um anybody who's going to say like, well, I think that Canadian artists could use a bit more of a push, or I think that they need to be paid this amount, or they need to be on radio this much. Like I don't think that that is a bad thing or a bad idea. I think that anything like that would be useful right now.
Mm,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. And how did you end up working with Greg Wells? Of course, Greg is a
Yeah.
well-known Grammy award-winning producer. Like, how did you get into, or I guess, how did he get into your camp? How did he get into your fold?
It's funny. It was just kind of like it's one of those situations where things just kind of fall together in a funny way and you don't have anything to do with it. But like when Greg came here and was redoing the church out in Winterton to make it into Trinity Hall, I went out for the grand opening. And I that was the first day that I had met Greg, and he was there for the grand opening, obviously, and it was like beautiful. It was very emotional, and it was very special for the people who have grown up in that community. And anyways, it was a beautiful ceremony, and I remember speaking to Greg afterwards, and now that Greg and I have spoken so much and have worked together, he's told me that it was just kind of like a friendly enough conversation that it felt easy enough to like kind of get a read on me, instead of
Wow.
just like portraying me as what I was just like walking around. And I am kind of like easy to misread or like gather as something else. But I remember I like cried to Greg that day about how beautiful it was that the church bells rang for the first time for the community and all these random things. So I think that Greg and I just kind of understood each other in a funny way immediately. And then there was word of Greg working with Ryan Gates out in Winterton, for Silly Cove Records, and working with artists to make them records. And it's like a non-for-profit whole deal. And so Greg had mentioned and Ryan had mentioned signing me to Silly Cove Records for this album and doing an album together. And of course there was no doubt in my mind that this was just the best thing that could happen right now. And Greg is, I mean, it's Greg Wells. Like you can't really say much more. Um,
Mhm.
and so I was so excited, and I knew that this was going to be a really good opportunity for me to like lean into what I've been curious about as to what I could make outside of pop music. And so it just kind of flourished from there, and it was very quick. Like all of this happened very, very, very quickly. Like it's funny, people don't even really understand until I'm talking about it. But all of this happened so quickly. I mean, my first trip to California to do anything to start the album period was last February, and it was 2 weeks. And then we finished recording everything in November of last year, and that was a full month that I spent there. In Santa Monica. I like had an apartment and I stayed there for a month to work with Greg. So the album was quite literally recorded in like a month and 2 weeks, if you think about it that way. And then the writing process was just from when the time I met Greg until my last month there. And so it all happened super quick, but I think that there was something about that that worked for me in terms of how genuine it came out, and how I was writing and doing it all with how I was growing and how things I was experiencing at the time. Like, I don't know, it was a really funny process, but it worked for me and Greg, obviously, and I'm really proud of the album, and it was very cathartic. Like, I needed this album really bad, to be honest, just to like get myself in the right headspace and to remind myself of what I could make. And it was just me and Greg in the studio, right? Like, I think that's also something that was really special.
Hmm.
So that's kind of how Greg and I met. And I spending 2 weeks with him and his family. My first trip up was amazing, and his family is truly the best. And then spending a month there and having my own place, that did a lot for me as well as an artist. Just being in a new place altogether and walking to the studio every day, and you're in California as an artist, like there was a whole lot of things that I really needed. So I think that it all just worked out the way it needed to be honest.
I love that. Would you say you were inspired by Greg?
Oh my gosh, how could I not be? Greg is truly, it's, he'd like maybe kill me for like talking so much about him like in these ways, but like Greg really is like one of the best people. Like I don't I've loved working with him in terms of like music, and I've learned so much from him about writing and about making music and being an artist and a creative, because he has just like textbook definition of like a creative brain, like the mad scientist mode in the studio. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah.
But then also Greg has taught me just a lot in general and like as a person. And we've had a lot of really good conversations in studio, because that's another part of making an album. You're sitting in studio and you talk about things and you cry. And he got a lot of lore about me, and I put a lot of trust in Greg, and I'm a trusting person, but like it's also sometimes hard to really get to know me. And I feel like Greg does really know me. So I'm very lucky. I feel very blessed to have made that connection with him, because as much as I'm grateful to have made so much music with him and learned so much from him in that way, he has just enlightened me in a lot of other ways, and um, done a lot for me in ways outside of the studio, and really made me feel like family while I was in another country by myself as a girl in her 20s. So, I'm really grateful, I must say. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Isn't it amazing what music does to people?
I love it so much. It like makes me all sappy and warm and fuzzy, because music is so universal, and it's wild just how it works through everybody, and it communicates in so many different ways universally. Like people
Yeah.
just talk through music and connect through music, and it's my favorite thing about what I do.
That's pretty wild. How old were you when you first like seriously started, you know, taking music?
I mean, it was definitely like right before high school. I think I like knew that that's what it was going to be. And then all through high school, I missed so much high school. I went to a music school-ish deal. Like I went to Holy Heart, and I did all of my music courses and spent my whole high school career in the music theater, like in the actual Holy Heart Theater with the theater department. And
Mm,
I had a very career driven like high school experience. Everybody was so supportive. And so it was like, it was even before high school, and I was very determined through high school. And like I said, missed a lot of school, missed a lot of tests, missed a lot of parties and all that kind of stuff. But then obviously after high school, like everybody knew I wasn't going to post secondary. It wasn't even a question. So when I graduated high school, it was like really lockdown time, do the things. Everyone else was gearing up to go to university, and I was like signing a publishing deal and doing all that stuff, just like getting ready to make a career out of it and claiming it as a business. Like Rachel Cousins Music is a business, and so this is all I've ever done. But I started taking it really seriously. Yeah, I guess when I graduated in 2019, but even before that, I'd say I've been doing this for real. Yeah.
and so does that mean your parents are like big into music as well? Like what was the music in your house as a kid growing up and stuff?
It's funny because like I'm the only musician in the family. Like nobody else plays music, nobody sings. I mean, there's the classic, I'm a Newfoundlander, so like there's a classic, you go around the bay. I might have a huge bay family, and everybody has a guitar and they're singing for Christmas and parties and stuff, but
Everyone
nobody's like
gets
a
a little
musician in the
screeched and
family. Right, right, right,
yeah.
right. But like I didn't grow up with it in the house by any means. I don't have a singer in the house. It
Mm,
just wasn't like that. But like mom always played music for me when she was pregnant with me, like on her stomach with headphones, and so
wow.
there was just always like an influence in some way. But my parents have always been over the top supportive. Like it was just always, Rachel wants to do music. We're not questioning it. Like that's what she's doing. We're
Mm,
gonna put her in the things. We're gonna let her miss school. We're gonna go on trips with her. My parents did all of that stuff. And like my mom specifically is my manager and has been my whole career. And so she's doing all of it with me hand in hand. When I said I wasn't going to school, I wasn't going back to school. Like it was just, okay, we're doing music. And it was never a question. So that's also huge. I wouldn't be doing it if I had,
well, imagine if
um,
they fought you on that.
right. I can't imagine. I know artists like that who were forced to go to school or forced to go be a dentist or whatever it may be, because that's what they were told they had to do. Like I'm, I think I took it for granted a little bit when I was especially a teenager, because I didn't know that that was not, my parents never questioned that. I like imagine, now that I think about it, imagine being a parent and having like a 16-year-old be like, I'm being a musician. Like, there's no real guarantee, by the way, that that's going to work out for me. I've never had a plan B. My parents have never enforced a plan B because why would you? Like, that's the kind of thing that I grew up with. Like, and I think
Well, if
that
you're going
that's
to be a
the only
musician,
reason that
you're
I'm
going to
doing
be a
it.
musician. Like that's the way.
Yeah, that's just it,
Yeah,
right? Like, if
that's
you have
how
a
it is.
plan B, then what are you doing with your plan A? Like, that's just how I was, that's how I thought my whole life. And
Yeah.
so that's still why I'm digging at it. It's really hard. This is really difficult, to be chasing something that is like kind of unattainable. Like, no, there's no destination here. Like, there's no made it when you're doing this stuff, you know? It's just a constant strive to do better and be better and make good music and make better music than you just made. And that's just what it is. And so I'm very lucky to have a family that has always been very supportive of me. And it, not even just my immediate, but like my huge family. We have a big family and everybody is very supportive of me and has never questioned anything. And it's never demeaning. It's never like still doing the music thing. It's not like that. Like, it's like Rachel's
Fuck
doing the
off.
music
Yes, I
thing.
am still doing the music thing.
Oh, Rachel's doing the music thing. Like, that's
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
conversation is, you know?
And so, like, were your parents supportive in the way that they would also take you to concerts? Did you go to a lot of concerts as a little kid? Like, what was your first show you went to?
As much as I could, yeah, like, my parents, God love them, they've always given us as much as they possibly could and have worked so hard to give myself and my brother all of the things that we have. So
Mm,
growing up, like, my first big concert was Avril Lavigne because she came here to Newfoundland.
mm,
I'm obsessed with her. I still am. Love Avril Lavigne. She was one of my icons as a kid. So that was my first concert. And then I went to like Ed Sheeran in Toronto. Myself and mom was crazy. And then me and my mom just went to Billie Eilish together in October. And Billie Eilish is like my everything artist. Like, I've watched her since she had 5,000 followers.
yeah.
So we went to Toronto and saw Billie Eilish. And mom was like in charge of phones because I didn't want to be on it, and she took videos of me and was crying watching me watch my artist. Like,
Aw,
it's just always been, yeah, it's a big thing for my family just to support me in any way they can. And every time they see that like light in my eyes or that little something, then they're encouraging that and they're doing all the things that they can, you know?
yeah, that's cool. What was the standout moment for you for the Billie Eilish show?
I mean, like, I really truly believe that the beginning of a concert is like, there is nothing else in this world like that. Like, your artist is coming up on the stage, or like there's that grand reveal, and they have this crazy production with the intro, and that moment was crazy. And also, as an artist, when you're watching concerts like that, you also yearn to do it. Like, that's
Yeah.
another thing that you experience. So it was wild. I spent the whole concert just like in tears, and then you dance and you laugh and you cry with her, and then it was just amazing. But then my favorite, like, my I think one of my favorite points in the concert was when she did The Greatest. It was like a whole arena full of people singing with her and like getting out all the trauma or the lore or all of the things that people had associated with that song. It was like everybody was doing it at the same time, and you get that like group. I don't know. It's like this insane feeling that you can only really feel in a concert where everybody's just sharing that exact same thing in a different way. Like how music is universal. It's just that. It's just that feeling. Like, those things are what stands out to me in a moment like that.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, talk to us a little bit about the Searchlight contest that you did with CBC Top 10 and that. Like, what
Hmm.
was that like?
Yeah, I've always done Searchlight. Like, I've always put in my things for Searchlight. I think that anything like that is just really like to be in like a top 10 with all of these really brilliant songs. That's what that's what I always think about. It's always an honor to just be like, people always say it's an honor to be nominated and stuff, but that's how it feels like to be in a category or to be in a top 10 or whatever with really great songwriters in Canada. I think it's just a really great feeling. And I love Searchlight because you get all this music that maybe you hadn't heard before.
Mhm. That's the
And
cool
people
thing,
are
I think.
finding.
Like,
Yeah,
just
I
helping to
love
find
that.
new music.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
find all this new music and all these new artists. You follow them, and then all of a sudden you have a new artist that you're following because of, a Searchlight. I think it's really cool.
yeah. And your music's been played in like tons of movies and TV shows and like even Hockey Night in Canada.
Yeah.
Can you remember the first time that you heard or saw your music in something
Yes.
and what that was like?
Yeah, I remember it was shortly after I had signed with Simba, who are based in Toronto. Vince DiGiorgio is amazing, and he's my publisher that I signed with years ago. And so the first sync, I believe, was Winona Earp, which is like a sci-fi show. And my pop single, Let Go, which was produced by Daniel Adams, had gotten a sync into the show. A sync being like a placement they play in the show.
Yeah.
And I remember we were all so excited. This was the first time this had ever happened to me. This is the dream. Your song is on TV. What the heck is going on? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember my whole family and I, like, we sat in front of the TV and we all had our phones recording it so that we could remember this moment forever. And they played my song. And it was, I remember the scene too. It was like they were in the kitchen or there was like a dinner party and they have a speaker, like a radio on the counter. And my song, Let Go, was playing on the radio in the scene. It was so cool to me because I'm like, this is a whole nother world that they've created. Cause I also love film and acting and all that stuff. And so I was like, this is so cool. My song is in this whole other world that they've created. It was amazing. Seeing it on TV was wild. But then the crazy thing that happened, which I didn't realize is something that happens when you get placements and stuff, is that like because it was a sci-fi show and they have such a broad fan base and like a really strong fan base, there was all of these playlists then of like Winona Earp episode whatever, and all of the songs that were in that episode would be on these playlists. And then Let Go had gotten all these plays, and all of a sudden I was like, wait, is this how this works? Like, is this? And that was like a whole thing for me. Like it just kind of,
Like
I
a light bulb
understood at that
moment,
point,
like,
right? Like, yeah, like a ding,
yeah,
a aha moment.
yeah.
And then it just kind of snowballed from there. Then it was like a wedding show, wedding planners, or yeah, there was a whole bunch. Christmas Hallmark movies. It never gets old. Like it really doesn't. It still feels the same way. It feels like I'm watching it for the first time every time I see like my songs in anything. It's
How
really neat.
cool. Unless it's
Yeah.
like getting all choked up, like fighting back the tears or what.
Yeah, no, for real. I'm a crier. I cry at everything,
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
moments like
And
that.
like, do you watch hockey? For me, for the list I just listed off, like I would think like
Yeah.
hockey, for me, like hockey night in Canada, man, that's big.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. I mean, I grew up in a hockey family. Like my dad plays hockey, my brother played hockey his whole life growing up, and so that was pretty wild. There's never a hockey game missed in the house. And so that was huge. Yeah, like my dad specifically was, yeah, hello? Like what
Who,
are we talking
who
about?
are who are the teams for your
We're a
family?
Habs family.
Cabs, there you go. Okay, I was
Yeah.
gonna say if it's Toronto. Oh, I think the Zoom link just died somehow. I don't know how that happened, but
Oh, weird.
okay.
Um, yeah, no, we are a Habs family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outside of well, I guess we got a little bit of sports there, but outside of music and stuff, I'm curious. Like you mentioned, you like shows and movies and stuff. Like, what are you binge watching lately?
Ooh, that's a good one. I was watching Handmaid's Tale recently. Like I've been watching a lot of Handmaid's Tale. I only just started it for the first time. Um, I don't know. I really wanted to watch it once the book was banned in the States. I was like, okay, I think it's time
Yeah.
that I watch this show. And so I watched that. I haven't finished it yet, but I have been watching it, and it's a lot. And so I have to take my moments to breathe from it. Especially like in this period of time. I think it's a hard one. But then for lighter watches, I just recently started watching Arcane, which is like an animated series, and it's
Oh, good.
so good.
It's
So good.
so good.
Holy moly. I was watching Invincible for a long time, and I almost finished it. Invincible's also really good.
It's quite good. Yeah, that's
Um,
that's the one where his dad's like the big
yes,
man kind of
wild,
type thing, and it's
wild.
very violent and
Yes, it
yeah,
is, but like took me on an emotional roller
it's
coaster as
great.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, but Arcane
Um,
is like another world. Like the
it
voice
has me
acting and
hooked.
like the
I've only
the
just started watching it. I
it's
love how it's
insane.
animated. It's like a sensory joy to watch to me. I don't know why specifically, but and like this whole world, I love Jinx. I really resonate with her in general.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
yeah,
it's great. You're gonna
I'm
love the
obsessed.
series. I love that you've just started it because I know the entire storyline, and it's
I
like,
know everyone's like you're not ready.
oh, prepare for your mind to be blown. Like it's not good.
Oh God.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And how about like for movies? What's your favorite genre of movies?
I'm a horror movie fan. I love horror movies. It's
Mm.
funny because I was kind of a scaredy cat growing up. But once I like understood why people loved horror movies, like the love of being scared in a
The jump
theater.
scares? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I love a jump scare. I do love the classic like horror movie jump scare, but I really love like a psychological horror movie that just kind of like flips your head.
Like what do
I
you
think
mean?
maybe
Like a Silence of the Lambs sort of thing? Or like what do you mean?
okay, like a good psychological horror to me. Some of my favorite horror movies, they're like really random because nobody's really seen them, but Creep 1 and Creep 2 are really well done horror movies. Mark Duplass is like the main character in them. I really love those horror movies because it is a little bit of a mind screw.
Yeah.
I think Hereditary was a good psychological horror movie. Um,
Good movie.
things like that I really like. Um, but I also just love any horror movie, to be honest. Like I love the Sinister whole franchise movies. They're really good.
Mm, mm.
And The Conjuring is good. And then I also love like just docu-series and documentaries. I've
Yeah.
always been that girl and that kid too. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you rabbit hole? Like if you're jumping on YouTube, do you go down aliens? Do you go down politics? Like what do you find where you're like late at night and you're like, fuck, I gotta get off here. I'm just like rambling.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad for like falling into the political rabbit hole and just like the whole that whole side of the internet of like what's going on in the world right now.
Mm,
Um, I'm not like a conspiracy theorist, so like I don't fall down that whole end of it, but when I get on the internet and I am just looking at everything that's happening in the world, I fall down that side pretty bad.
mm, mm.
Um, and
Yes,
then
it's hard
also,
not to.
yeah, it is really hard not to right now, especially when everything is so accessible. It's just like at your fingertips. You can find out what you want
Yeah.
to find out or see what you want to see, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, the
Um,
problem though is of course you get both sides. It's like, they're all each side is pushing their own agenda. You know what I mean?
yes, exactly. So that is a rabbit hole I do fall down quite often. And then I also, um, I'm big on I always say that if I didn't go into music, I would have gone into like psychology, specifically in like criminal forensics and stuff, like behavioral analysis and all that kind of stuff.
Mm,
So I love like a true crime, but not like a podcast true crime where people are like talking. I want like the real deal. Like I want an interrogation room, that type of thing. Like I find that really fascinating too. So I hyperfixate on those sometimes. How
Are,
people
are you talking like the
investigate
Jeffrey
someone.
Dahmer things? Did you see that one? And like
Yeah, I have seen all of these. I
and the
love just
Mendez
random
brothers and
cases
all
with
that shit? It's
interrogation
just
style.
like it's so intriguing. Like
It is. It
these
is very
people live
intriguing.
among us.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's quite scary.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this isn't necessarily a question. It's more of a, do you have a story of a time where you almost died? Like a near death brush with, holy crap, I could have died.
Yes. I mean, I got in a car accident. I think it was last winter. Was it last winter? Yeah, it was last winter. I got no, 2 winters ago. I got into a car accident in my Mazda 3 hatchback, and it was my first, like, my own car. I was getting off an on ramp on, like, getting onto the highway, and I was going 60, just getting merging on. And it was like really early morning. I was on the way to a school to do a presentation because I talked to junior highs here in the province.
Oh, cool.
I was on the way to the school, and it was pretty slick out because it was so early in the morning and still really cold. And I hit black ice and I spun out on the highway and I slammed into the guardrail. But when I realized that I wasn't hurt through that, okay, I hit the guardrail, I'm fine, everything's okay. Once I like had lifted my head and realized what was going on, I was in oncoming traffic. Like people were coming at me at that point. And so then I genuinely thought, I was like, are we serious? Like I remember having the thought of like, so that are we serious? Like I survived this. I'm fine. My car is not even totaled, but now I'm gonna get slammed and somebody else is gonna get hurt. Like I remember that being like a oh
Yeah.
my God.
And it's
But
crazy
then
in those moments how time slows.
I had so many thoughts. So
Yeah,
many thoughts.
it's
And I
nuts.
remember but the universe sent me a literal miracle. This man pulled up in a construction vehicle, and like I don't even know how he did it because there was so much traffic on the highway. Like I don't know how he managed to stop and not have it was wild, but it happened like that. But I remember he pulled up and he was like, get in my truck, get in my truck. And I got in his truck and he was this sweet old man. And I remember he was like rubbing my back because once I got in his car, I really freaked out because then I was able to understand what was happening.
Sure.
And I freaked out, and he was like, he took my phone from me to call my parents and called whoever else needed to be there. And people had called the cops and the ambulance just by witnessing because it looked really bad.
Yeah.
But once I realized everything was fine and everybody showed up and I got my car off the highway, I was like, I realized how bad it was. Like I was like, that could have been really, really bad. If somebody had hit me, it could have been a whole pile up, honestly. Just where it was in the highway, I wasn't very far from the on ramp. People were getting on the highway. It was wild. And every time I pass it still, I'm like,
Oh yeah.
shiver me
Oh,
timbers.
I once drove off the highway here between Penticton and Vancouver, and every time I drive past that point now, I
Yep.
literally every time I get a little bit of a chill.
Yes.
It was scary shit
Yeah, it is.
driving off the highway in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And when the tow truck came, this is how icy it was. The tow truck came, four cars plowed into the tow truck at that specific spot. It was so bad.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so freaky. And you honestly, that was my first car accident and you cannot get the sound of it out of your head. Like I remember the sound of my car crunching on the guardrail and yeah, I just can't. It was bad. And I didn't drive for like 3 weeks. I refused.
Insane, right?
Yep.
Like that is so close.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm going to respect your time. I got one last question for you. It could be the
Yeah.
trickiest, it could be the easiest. I
Yeah.
find that people are kind of on both sides for this one. Pick one career highlight, just one.
Oh, I
As
would
you,
have to
as you
say,
Rolodex through, you're like, there's so
I
many.
know I just really like flipped through them. I would genuinely have to say that going to California for a month and recording my album with Greg in this studio, like just that month in general changed so much for me. And it changed the way that I felt about myself and what I was doing. It gave me so much more like courage and independence and realizing my capabilities. Greg challenged me in a lot of great ways. But just I really mean that like when I growing up I always said I'm going to go to California and I'm going to be a pop star. That's what I said growing up. So to go to California, well, I remember when we went to LA, it was just like, oh my God, I'm where I said I was going to be when I was a kid. And that was really big for me. It felt like my childhood self was like there the whole time. That sounds corny, but I mean that. Like it just felt like I was doing something that I had always dreamt of. And
Mhm.
not a day went by that I did not count my lucky stars. I'd wake up and make my coffee in the morning in my apartment in California. And it was like I was in a damn commercial because I'd just be good morning, world. Like that's just how I felt. Like constantly every morning. Good morning. I'm in California. I'm ready to go and make music. Like
Love
what
it.
else could you ask for? It was amazing. So I think that's honestly my career highlight. It was the best, and I just want to go back. I don't want to go to America right now. It's a shame, but I really want to go back to California soon. I do.
We love you, Greg Wells. We love
We
you.
do. We love you, Greg.
Uh, what is the rest of 2025 looking like for you?
So I have a private listening party at the end of the month, mainly industry people. So it's just like I'm inviting people that have supported me in the industry specifically, and people who have contributed to projects or have just supported and showed up to the shows. We're having a private listening party at my workplace because I'm a waitress and a bartender, like every other musician you know. So we're having a private listening party. We'll just be listening to the album throughout the night. They'll get a first look at like the artwork and stuff. I have my actual ticketed open to the public album release on the 17th of October because the album comes out on the 10th. And that's like me and a band and the whole party.
Mhm.
So we'll be doing that. And then I plan on going on a tour after that. my manager has like 5 weeks taken off in the fall so that we can just go on the road and go across the island, do acoustic shows, just do it the old fashioned way, because that's honestly how I want to do it.
Mhm.
Just get a taste for touring because I haven't toured by myself ever before. So that'll be that. And that's as far as I'm looking right now for 2025. And then I'm thinking, I mean, you're obviously always thinking about like what you're making next and that good stuff, but I'm really giving this album the time that she needs. I plan on doing like videos and a lot of visual stuff for this one, so that's where I'm at right now.
Fun.
Yeah.
Where are you most active? You're all over the internet, of course. You TikTok and YouTube and
I
Instagram,
would say that I'm
Facebook.
most active on Instagram, Rachel Cousins Music. I'm normally like on there every day posting, either on my stories or whatever it may be, and I pride myself on being very interactive with people. So if somebody is commenting or messaging me, then I'll see it immediately.
Mm,
Because I am in hold of my own account. So
yeah, it's actually
um,
you. It's not some.
it is actually me, yes,
Yeah,
indeed. And Facebook, like I'm there every single day as well. But TikTok is that's like my music, but I'm also a
you gonna learn the
24-year-old.
dances?
Literally, I'm also a 24-year-old girl, so I post, my other things on TikTok that I like, and people
Yeah,
get to see a little bit more of me. So yeah,
sweet. Well, thanks again for jumping on the podcast here in Vancouver.
thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, I will tag you when we're chucking this stuff around, and have a great day. It's Rachel Cousins, cousinsmusic.com for the website.
Yes,
Okay,
sounds
buddy.
good. Thank
Good to
you
see
so
you.
much.
Thanks for jumping on, and we'll talk to
Good
you
to see
soon.
you. Have a good
Okay.
day.